So it appears as if the relationship between Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert is not salvageable. It's gotten to such a crazy point that Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, which was once considered to be a very promising duo in not only for the Utah Jazz, but in the entire Western Conference of the NBA, might end up having to get split apart. Now, what's going on, guys? Your boy TheFlightMike back again, and I know it's been a very long time since I've uploaded a news video. Apparently, once the NBA season is suspended, there isn't much basketball news to be made, but make sure you guys drop a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for any moments that there are basketball news. You will be getting a news analysis video. Furthermore, guys, in the meantime, I've been uploading content to my other channels, Microphone for football and Flight FC for soccer, and I've begun making live streaming on Twitch a regular thing so I could still communicate and talk to you guys. My Twitch is in the description down below. It's twitch.tv/FlightMike, and I live stream every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. But aside from that, I think I owe you guys a little bit of a background to what's going on. But before we get to that, I would like to thank this video's sponsor, and that is Cove Audio. Let's take you guys back to that fateful week where the NBA season would get canceled as a result of Rudy Gobert catching the virus. And there's a lot more details that have come out since, and that's why I want to revisit the situation. So the context of the situation is it's late February, like February 25th. And at this time, if you guys remember, most people weren't taking this as a situation that could potentially cause a pandemic. If you guys remember properly, the NBA didn't really release a memo about COVID-19 until March 1st, but the Utah Jazz, however, had a meeting about it on February 25th. And remember, back then on March 1st, the first NBA memo wasn't anything serious. It was literally just the NBA saying to the players, hey, just don't give any fans fist bumps or don't touch any fans, just opt for fist bumps over high fives if you can. Do whatever you can to distance yourself from fans just so we could prevent the spread of this thing. And that's all the NBA said on March 1st. But on February 25th, the Jazz would have a meeting where they would pretty much give their players a warning and gave a precaution to their players and said, hey, this is the situation. There's this deadly little virus running around our society, and do whatever you can to prevent the spread of it. But unfortunately for the Utah Jazz, not everybody would heed the advice properly, because as it would turn out, that would also be the day that Rudy Gobert would have his infamous moment where he would touch the microphones of the media members as he left his press conference after the morning shoot-around. Now, yeah, it was a terrible move, and it was a practical joke that just makes him look really, really bad, because he was poking fun at the league's new policy of keeping reporters 6 feet away from players during media interviews at that time. So in order to humanize Rudy Gobert a little bit, pretty much imagine being Rudy. You know, there's this little virus going around, which is practically a meme at this point. No one's really taking it that seriously. You come into your press conference, you see your reporters standing 6 feet back away from you, and to this point, it hasn't harmed anyone that you care about or that you love, or it hasn't affected your life really. So as a natural reaction, Rudy Gobert kind of makes a joke out of this entire situation, and now he's had this one moment that just looks really, really bad on him now that we're in the situation that we're in now. As ironic as this would be, as the Tuesday afternoon trip would commence, teammates would notice that Rudy Gobert was coughing and showing the effects of whatever ailed him. Some of them encouraged him to treat his illness, prodding Gobert to skip the conventional medicines and teas and head straight to the trainers for a COVID test. Yet, according to sources, Rudy Gobert, who believed he was good enough to play in the Wednesday game against the Thunder, clearly didn't see his symptoms as severe enough to warrant such a reaction. And I figured I'd give you guys this entire background, because this background is coming out right now. We didn't know about this before. And then ultimately we would know what would happen in that fateful Tuesday afternoon, one of the worst days probably in NBA history. The Utah Jazz would go to play the Oklahoma City Thunder, and then ultimately the season would wind up getting canceled. And of course, Rudy Gobert would get tested positive for the virus. And what sucked about this was, at first, he did look really, really terrible for this. But then as days would go on, guess who Rudy Gobert likes to sit next to on planes? Guess who Rudy Gobert is the closest with on the entire Utah Jazz? Donovan Mitchell. And guess what? They're both franchise cornerstones. The Utah Jazz are clearly building their teams for the future around the Eiffel Tower and Donovan Mitchell. So I'm sure at this point you guys understand how severe things are. For all you know, the NBA draft could be pushed back after August 1st amid this entire crisis. There might not be an NBA season, although some stars are very optimistic about our situation. Some other NBA players are not so optimistic. We're currently watching depressing NBA 2K tournaments of players just like literally just looking at their TVs, very depressed because they're not playing in the midst of an NBA season. NBA players have begun making TikToks and stuff like that. You can't go into gyms anymore. But yeah, you guys get the point here. Now, according to this report from The Athletic, that's Shams Charania, for those of you guys that don't know, who's a very, very reputable source in the entire NBA industry, Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert's relationship doesn't appear to be salvageable. I did make a video about a month ago saying that Donovan Mitchell appears to forgive Rudy Gobert, but I suppose that was not true because according to this report, the Utah Jazz looked at this situation and said, okay, you know, we have Donovan Mitchell, we have Rudy Gobert, we have Rudy Gobert that pretty much infected Donovan Mitchell, we have Donovan Mitchell who's pretty much not the happiest at how Rudy Gobert decided to handle this entire situation. So we should maybe get them in on a Zoom call and try to begin repairing this relationship. And for the most part, 2 days later, we know Donovan Mitchell, 2 days after Rudy Gobert would get infected, Donovan Mitchell would get infected. And for the most part, Donovan Mitchell on March 16th would appear on Good Morning America and said, it took a while for me to kind of cool off. And I read what Rudy Gobert said and I heard what he said, so I'm glad he's doing okay. At that time, The Athletic was hoping that, okay, you know, I'm sure time heals everything. So I'm sure by the time the NBA season starts, Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell will forgive each other. When Joe Ingles heard what Donovan Mitchell said on March 16th, he had this to say over a week later on March 24th, saying, I'm confident our team is going to be totally fine. I heard Donovan's response or whatever it was to that question, and a part of that is on Donovan and Rudy to sort it out if he's frustrated with him or whatever. But I have no doubt when we get back to training or when our season starts again, our team is going to be what we have been and what we are. I'm confident our team will be completely fine. The chemistry will be fine, like you said. We've been known around the league to be a close bunch of guys, and I believe we still are. But despite all of this news and all these reports, this one source tells The Athletic it doesn't appear to be salvageable. Now, here's what I'm thinking, and here's my analysis on the matter. Could you trust this report? Well, I've seen multiple times, guys, and this is just me being 100% honest with you. I've seen news outlets become very, very desperate to create narratives as a result of the fact that there's nothing to report on. Myself, like, if you look at my channel, for example, this past month, it's been an absolute struggle for me, man, because there is no NBA news out there. There's nothing to report on. And I've seen people get so desperate that literally Stephen A. Smith a couple days ago created this like one rumor that he blocked a trade. Yes, himself, Stephen A. Smith blocked a trade that would have allowed Allen Iverson and Tracy McGrady to team up with one another in the year 2000. So I've seen a lot of sports outlets get desperate to create these narratives and create drama just so they could have something to report on and some content to create to get views. I know myself included, like when I saw this report, I'm like, ooh, finally something to report on. But if you ask me, I don't think that Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell are going to have much of a problem moving forward. I think if they do have a problem with each other right now, it would probably be as a result of them just being stir crazy, man. Like, yeah, I'm sure Donovan Mitchell might be thinking, oh man, if Rudy Gobert was a little bit more responsible, we could have had some more NBA games to play, or we could have gone another week or two with the NBA still, with NBA games still going on. But you have to bear in mind, there's 12 NBA players that got infected with this thing. The season coming to a halt would have come to a halt regardless. There's nothing you could have done to fix this or rectify this at all. So ultimately, there's nothing that could have been done to prevent this. if you ask me, yeah, Rudy Gobert did something stupid. He did look really bad doing what he wanted to do with touching the mics and whatnot. But I don't think it's something that Donovan Mitchell will resent Rudy Gobert for the rest of his life, unless if the transmission of the virus results in like the death of a loved one or the death of a family member. So I don't think that this report is true whatsoever. If you ask me, I feel like the Utah Jazz will be fine going down the road. I don't think they would blow it up over something like this, and I don't think that Donovan Mitchell will come to practice one day and say, I refuse to play a game with Rudy Gobert ever again. That just sounds like absolutely silly to me. But those are my thoughts, guys. I want to hear what you guys think about this entire situation. Aside from that, I do not know when's the next time I'm going to be uploading a video onto this channel. So make sure that you're following me on Twitch, Instagram, and Twitter and all that stuff to stay in touch. Hopefully I'll be back sooner rather than later. Just know this isn't out of laziness. This is out of there's absolutely no content to create for basketball currently. I'm your boy, TheFlightMike, and I'll catch you guys in either a Twitch stream or on one of my other channels.